Would I be the a-hole if I ignored my parents' olive branch after the traumatic birth of my babies? My husband, 38 male, and I, 30 female, have been together for 12 years, married for 7. I had a strained relationship with my parents, late 60s, prior to meeting my husband, due to my mother's behavior and my father's lack of action against it. Some examples for context: my father went away for work for about 6 months when I was 8. My mother didn't do any of the motherly duties and relied on me to care for my younger siblings. Aside from taking us to school, she didn't help with homework, cook dinner, or wash our clothes. My dad did all this before he went away. At 8, I was making sandwiches for my siblings while my mom read her book in the bath. I would put them to bed and make sure they had clean clothes, as we were being picked on for being the dirty kids. We went no contact about 11 years ago, when I became seriously unwell, 2 weeks in intensive care, followed by a further 5 weeks in hospital, and my parents didn't contact me once. They knew as my now husband had called them. They didn't visit, call, or text, but posted on social media about how devastated they were with the situation, acting like the most caring parents in the world. When my husband and I got engaged, we sent invitations to our wedding to them, with no response. They didn't attend. My husband reached out to my father shortly after we got married when I found out I was expecting. The response was lackluster, along the lines of, "I hope you're both happy," but nothing more. No contact after that, nor when we had our second child. Recently, we had a very traumatic pregnancy and birth, with my babies arriving 3 months early with major complications. 2 weeks after the birth, I received contact from my parents in the form of a Facebook request and a message saying, "Long time no speak," which I have not responded to. We speak to numerous members of the family, so I imagine they have heard what's happened. I don't know what to do. I don't understand why they would reach out now when I've had many major life events in the interim: wedding, birth of first and second child, graduating university, etc. I can only imagine it's similar to when I was in hospital and all about attention or what they can say on social media. I don't trust their motives at all. My husband and I are at odds over this, though. He believes they may have realized the error of their ways and are trying to make amends. It's causing arguments because he thinks I should accept the friend request and what he perceives as an olive branch. I genuinely don't know what to do. Would I be the a-hole if I block them and remain no contact, knowing this will probably be it until they die? Now for the top comments before reading the update. First of all, you are a great human being for picking up motherly duties at such a young age. Second, you've got a great husband who is with you through good and bad. Now, coming to the question, the story misses a lot of details. Was your father only out for work for the 6 months you mentioned, or was he out frequently? Does he do all the house chores when he is home, or do you kids help too? What does your mother do when your father is at home? Did you tell your father about your mother's behavior? When did you and your siblings move out? Are your parents still married? Despite all this, not the a-hole. There is a motive behind the reach out. They have some inconvenience in life and need your help, so they're trying to butter you up. Or they're trying to play the empathetic parent and appear to support their daughter during her struggles in front of the world and relatives, so they can say things like, "I was there for you when you had a rough pregnancy." Whatever their intentions are, accepting that friend request brings no good. Now that you are recovering from a traumatic experience, you don't need any more stress that brings back bad memories. You're right, it does gloss over a lot of details. Thought I'd pinpoint some biggies without boring everyone. After my father came back, he was working 45+ hours of shift work a week, so he wasn't around much. But when he was, he did look after us. I spoke to him about what happened when he was away, and he roped in my late grandparents for the days he was on shift after school. This ended when I was 11 and my grandmother died. My siblings moved out as soon as they could. My youngest pretty much moved in with friends at 15, and the other left for university. We don't speak about our parents as they're still in touch, but low contact as far as I'm aware. My parents are still married. My husband thinks our kids should know their biological grandparents and has never really grasped the extent of their behavior toward me and my siblings, but his intentions are good. Since they do ask questions, If my parents were split, I would possibly go low contact with my father but would never let my mother near my children. Thank you. I wasn't sure if my postpartum hormones and current state of mind was clouding my judgment. Not the a-hole. It comes across that your husband has not had abusive parents and so cannot understand what you've been through. I would not contact them at all. They do not deserve to be a part of your or your children's lives. They forfeited those rights when they neglected you and parentified you as a child. That is abuse. I agree with you, but I want to point out that you don't need to have lived through abuse to have empathy for people who have, or at least to respect their opinion on the matter, even if you don't fully understand it. I don't speak to my brother for reasons I won't get into. My husband has never even hinted that I should accept his attempts to make amends because, even though he can't wrap his head around not being close to your siblings, he respects my experience and my decisions. I agree. It has been a discussion point between my husband and me on several occasions. He cannot fathom not having a relationship with your parents. In his words, he doesn't want me to live with regrets. His intentions are good. He's just not the most emotionally intelligent person sometimes. After he reached out when I was expecting, I wasn't aware, and he told me what happened when I got upset about the situation. He has never done anything like that again. He just feels like this is a last chance saloon and that I'll regret it if we never speak again. I do know, however, that he will not speak to them unless that's what I want. Edit. Hi all. Thank you for all your comments so far. With regard to my husband's age, yes, he's 7 years older than me. We got together when I was nearly 19, and he had just turned 26. There was no grooming or any other perverted situation surrounding us. He does take on a bit of a parental figure at times, and this is something we have been working on for 8 years with the help of a therapist. For more context, my husband isn't keen for me to reconnect with my mother. His intentions are toward my dad. He agrees our children should never have any contact with my mother, nor would he ever push for us to speak. His view is that my dad is a victim as much as I am, that he's trapped in an abusive relationship. To some extent, I agree, which is where my indecision comes from. If my parents divorced and went no contact with each other, I would probably look to reconnect with my father on a low-contact basis without the children involved. I will show my husband the responses when he gets back from work. For those who asked about the babies, they're still in NICU, and more than likely will be for the next couple of months. They're doing well, all things considered, and are stable now. Thanks for taking the time to read and respond. Now for the update. So, I did what many of you suggested and sat down and showed my husband this post and all the responses. It opened up a conversation about my past, which for the most part I've been fairly guarded about. It upsets me, and like in this post, he knew the highlights, but I never really liked delving too deep as it upset me. I've always tried to avoid sitting in my feelings as it gets me nowhere, so my husband has never fully known the extent of what we went through as kids. He has promised again that he will never contact them, and for those who suggested it, he was not in contact with them prior to this. And that should they reach out to him, he will not respond unless that's what I want. He has accepted he was wrong in his views and apologized to me profusely for pushing me on this. But these responses have opened my eyes, and his, to the fact that my father was complicit in our upbringing, something which will be taken away and discussed with my therapist. For those of you who offered support and kind words, thank you. For those who have thrown ridiculous insinuations about my husband, piss off with your perfect lives. I've deleted the message and blocked them, and will be continuing. No contact, and doubt I will ever revisit that scenario. For now, we will be focusing on supporting each other during our NICU stage and in the hopefully near future, our completed family all together at home. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not forcing my son to interact with his sister, even when she's in dire condition? If you had told me my family would become like this, I wouldn't have believed you. I have 3 kids, Kenny, Leon, and Sandra. Right now, Kenny practically ignores the existence of his sister. It all started about 5 years ago. Sandra was married to Kenny's best friend, Robert. They had a marriage most people would consider amazing. They traveled the world, had good careers, and genuinely loved each other. It was like that until Robert got into an accident and lost mobility in his lower body. It was tragic. He became very depressed, and their marriage didn't survive. The main reason? My daughter had an affair about a year after the accident, and Robert was heartbroken. I was so disappointed in her, but Kenny was furious with her and, after their divorce, stopped talking to her entirely. It's been like that ever since. He doesn't care about her, didn't go to her second wedding, and hasn't met her kids. He's just stuck with Leon and me. His relationship with his dad has also gone downhill because of his choice to ignore and cut her off. I never forced him to do anything outside of his comfort zone. I cherish my relationship with him, and frankly, it's not like he's harassing her about the past. He just doesn't want her around him. Anyway, Sandra's health has been declining after her last child, and she's been stuck in the hospital longer than we anticipated. Hopefully she gets better. During this time, she's expressed how much she wants Kenny near her, and how much she misses him. She wants him to meet his nephew. I let her vent and cry since she's going through a lot, both emotionally and physically, but I don't try to force Kenny to come here. He knows her condition and hasn't visited, so I thought it was clear he didn't want to see her. Well, my husband doesn't agree and has started pressuring him to see his sister, calling him heartless and cruel for doing this to her. Kenny blocked him and hasn't spoken or responded. Now my husband has been telling me I need to talk some sense into Kenny, but I don't want to. I know it might put a strain on our relationship, and I don't want that. My daughter has people around her, me, her husband, kids, my husband, and Leon. So it's not like she's alone. My husband is angry with me and has been avoiding me, which makes me feel like I might be the a-hole. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. I applaud you for not getting in the middle of their relationship. It's Kenny's decision to either be in or out of his sister's life. I'm sorry that she's doing poorly at the moment, but she fooled around and found out. And since Kenny isn't trying to sabotage anyone else's relationship with his sister, I don't think he's an a-hole either. On the other hand, your husband is an a-hole because he's trying to force the issue. Good luck, and I hope your daughter recovers. Also, does husband think OP can change what choice Kenny makes? Or is it a bit of a hurt ego and wanting to sabotage OP's relationship with Kenny, like how he messed up his own? Can't be the bad parent if both do the same thing. She chose to cheat. Kenny chooses not to be there for her like she wasn't there for his friend. There is no good outcome for you advocating for your daughter. Kenny has shown his determination to ignore her. Your interceding on her behalf will only drive him away from you too. Even if you think he's being too harsh, you cannot insist on policing his feelings. Not the a-hole. She chose to cheat. Kenny chooses not to be there for her. Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. She may want reconciliation, but it's not hers to expect or demand. This is the result of her actions. It's not a punishment. It's just life. Cheaters always think they are worth more than their actual value. That's why they cheat. That's why they can't understand when someone doesn't want them. Listen to her narrative. It's still me, me, me. She doesn't actually care about her brother, and he knows it. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Stay out of it. We all have a moral compass. Granted, it is a wide sliding scale. It would seem that Kenny's has led him to not want to be associated with his sister. He is not berating her or trying to turn others against her. Take a step back and look at the big picture. Your daughter abandoned her husband after his health declined, causing further damage with increased depression. It sounds like Kenny continued to have a front row seat to his friend's pain, while your daughter went on to have a new marriage and children. Now because she is having health issues, everyone should come running to support her. Does your husband expect her ex-husband to show sympathy too? Your husband is destroying his relationship with his son, if he hasn't already done so. Last story. My brother left me to deal with our abusive dad when I was a teen. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to do anything with him anymore years later? Growing up, my dad was abusive to me, 40 male, and my older brother Zach, 42 male. It got worse after our mom died, and then he started a new family with his new wife and 2 half-siblings. I always thought that as long as I had my brother and we stuck by each other, we would be fine. Well, he thought differently. When he turned 18, he just left me. He dropped a note saying he couldn't do this anymore and that he was sorry, but he needed to do it for himself. He blocked me and disappeared. When my dad got the news, he was devastated, and I guess that was the push he needed to try to do better by me. He tried forcing me to spend time with him and went on about how sorry he was for how he treated me and Zach. I've never forgiven him. I hated how he could flip a switch for his new wife and kids when he was an abusive piece of crap to me. After I turned 19, I cut him off completely. My life was a mess in my 20s. I turned to alcohol, got into fights, hung out with the wrong people and all that jazz. I got better after a couple of years since I almost died at one point. I turned my life around, got a great job, fell in love with my wife Saria, and had 4 daughters. My life has been great. I never thought I'd find the happiness I have. But hey, I'm not going to complain. I'm not active on social media, but my wife is, and she posts a lot about us. Through that, I ended up getting a message from someone claiming to be Zach. I checked the profile and it was him. He's married to another man, has 1 kid, and seems to be doing well. He sent a long message saying how much he missed me and how guilty he felt for leaving me like that. He mentioned that he and our dad have reconnected and just want me back in his life now. He said he saw a picture of my wife and kids and wished he could meet them. I'll be honest, I felt angry reading that. The moment I get my life together, he wants to come back and act like a family? I blocked him and thought that was the end of it. He contacted me 3 more times, and I've blocked him each time. The reason I'm here is because of my father-in-law. He and my wife had a hard relationship, but they've reconciled. I told him what's happening, and he just said to give Zach a chance since I might regret it. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? No a-holes here. I understand that your brother had to leave. He did what he had to do, just as you have too. It's hard being left behind when you need someone, even if you understand why. He did also wait 20 years to get in contact with you. That part I'm not sure about. I don't think he's an a-hole, but I do find it strange that there is a 2-year age difference. But he kept you blocked and did not have any line open or try to reconnect in the 20 years? Either way, you got your life together. You're happy where you are. If you don't want to reconnect, there's nothing wrong with that. I would ask you to sit down and think through it all with a level head and see where you're at and if you would ever want a relationship with him again. Ultimately, you're not the a-hole either way. My situation isn't exactly the same, but I would be closest to the older sibling in your story. I would have reached out to you hoping to reconcile. When you blocked me the first time, I would have my answer and respected your decision. You don't owe your brother anything. He knows what he did. The other question about him protecting himself is a separate issue. He knows what he did to you, and he has no right to beg or hassle or demand forgiveness from you. Not the a-hole. You're not ready, so don't force yourself to do it. Tell your wife and father-in-law to respect your decision. Time heals all wounds, but sometimes they heal after the other party has left this world. Only you can decide if you can bear that thought. There's no right or wrong answer to it. Forgiveness is a part of healing, but healing can be a long and painful process. I've been in a similar situation as OP, but eventually decided I didn't want to live with hatred toward anyone in my family, despite having the right to be angry with most of them. Eventually, I opened the door and found that my family member genuinely tried to make positive changes in their life. If your family members haven't changed or haven't asked for forgiveness, I can understand still blocking them out. It's a two-way street. It can't be just one side wanting to heal and change. It has to come from both sides to work. Best of luck, OP.